Today we're going to talk about the web design principles of the website's layout and composition. You found a nice example on the internet and have already started moving elements in this web design. Stop. Before you modify this website sample, you need to know the basics. I'll give you 6 professional web design tips for making website layouts and help you understand what works and what doesn't. These website composition principles can help in improving your creative expression in web design. By the end, you'll know how to build high-end website layouts with strong visual hierarchy and how to fix website composition errors. My name is Alex Carter. I'm a web designer and UX/UI expert at Web Design Lab. Today, I will focus on web layout tips using real-world examples. I use Nicepage for my work, though you may use Wix, Squarespace, Figma, or Webflow. To make it work, it's important to understand how visitors' attention behaves within a website layout. The human brain is wired to quickly recognize visual information. Every day, we constantly choose what matters most and what matters less. When I design a website, I use several principles to place accents so the website visitors instantly get the main focus of the web page, the focal point, and the visual hierarchy. I will explain all later. And here are 2 secrets I use. The first is a simple and clear layout that helps the user immediately understand where to look and what to click. A messy composition confuses the user and makes it hard to grip the focal points. Second secret, use various block designs to build layouts. If all the blocks on a site look the same, the brain gets bored. That's why I always mix different block designs to keep attention and lead visitors through a user journey through the web page. I always start with a design brief. What exactly do I want the user to do? Download the app, place an order, or subscribe? That's where composition principles really help me. They guide the user toward the action I need. Let me share the most important ones. The first principle is the focal point, that is the center of interest that grabs your attention right away. And even though the focal point isn't always at the center of the layout, it instantly helps you understand what matters most on the web page. Its purpose is to guide the site visitor's attention, showing where to look first and what to do next. It can be a hero banner, a large image, or a CTA button. The Dropbox website is a good example. There are 2 buttons next to each other, but one has more presence because of its color, while the other is a plain link. So the visual hierarchy clearly shows which call to action is primary and which is secondary. Once you've defined the focal point, the next step is placing it. And here the rule of thirds comes in. I'll explain it with some website examples. Here's the idea. Imagine 2 vertical and 2 horizontal grid lines that split the layout into 9 equal parts. The focal point should lie along those grid lines or at their intersection points. And here's a quick tip from me. I don't use the rule of thirds across the whole page. I apply it selectively to add a premium feel to the hero section, the first and most important block on a web page. A strong photograph object here is the focal point. By the way, if this tip saved you time, please give this video a like. It'll help me see if such topics are right for you. Now let's move on to hierarchy. Gary Simon from Design Course says, if everything stands out, nothing stands out. Professional UI/UX hierarchy relies on a clear focal point, balanced visual weight, and sufficient white space to make a web layout functional rather than confusing. Basically, we do the same thing on a website. We highlight the value proposition, letting it come to the fore, while secondary elements like the logo stay in the background and support the overall flow. Let's break down how hierarchy guides a visitor's attention. Hierarchy is built through size, contrast, and element placement. That's why headlines, body copy, and CTAs need a strong presence. A headline should be prominent, while body copy provides details, and a call to action guides users toward the next step. What matters is the difference in size, not the exact size. To make hierarchy work, I use spacing. It clearly separates what's primary from what's secondary. Color. Bold accents for the most important elements, muted tones for secondary. Large photographs, to grab attention, and icons for clarity. You've seen pages where there's nothing extra, just a headline, body copy, and CTA. This style is called minimalism. For example, take a look at this site. Your eyes immediately land on the focal point. Here, it's the body copy. Following the advice of the self-made web designer, I also recommend starting with the content. It sets the foundation. But first, you need to organize content. Here's what I usually do. I write key ideas on separate sheets. I group them by topic and meaning. I arrange the headline and body copy in a logical order within each group. A visual hierarchy makes it clear what matters most. Now let's talk about white space. It's not empty space. It is quiet areas that give the eye visual rest. It's the breathing room, part of the composition, separating elements from each other. Some examples. I'm opening Apple's website. Here, whitespace supports the focal point of their USP, unique selling proposition. In this high-end design, that air creates a silence that gives a premium look reflecting their brand value. Google is another great example of whitespace. Here, whitespace is the dominant element for directing attention. I often notice how designers increase the whitespace around every single element. My advice, add more whitespace around the main headline in the CTA. But for secondary elements, less whitespace is needed. Whitespace adds quiet areas, gives room to breathe, and helps the message come to the fore. Next, the proximity principle. Elements placed close to each other are perceived as related, and the ones separated by space feel different. That's why you don't need borders or lines to create logical groups. To make it clear, let's see the proximity principle in action. In this section, the space between the headline and the body copy is smaller than the space between the neighboring blocks. That creates a visual grouping effect. It's clear that the headline belongs to that paragraph. This principle groups the mega menu items into categories, product features into a single card, and form fields into a single section. The proximity principle makes the layout easy to navigate, helping to understand the relationships among elements. In Zara's layout, that logic falls apart. The hero is an abstract image with no CTA. The navigation and shopping cart feel non-intuitive. The page lacks visual rest. All caps typography hurts readability, and the focal point dissolves as the scanning pattern breaks. When the layout is ready, you need to check its usability. Is it user-friendly? Do users reach their goals quickly? If the composition is well thought out, it creates a clear visual structure and improves the user experience. Let me give you some layout tips using real examples. 1. Simplify anything that feels complicated. Don't make users think. 2. Keep navigation simple. 4 to 7 menu items are usually the gold standard, and the logo should stay secondary. 3. Use images to grab attention and inform users. 4. Offer fewer choices so you don't confuse visitors. 5. Make the site structure intuitive so users can quickly grasp the key. 6. Use simple contact forms with only necessary fields and clear error messages. When the layout is almost finished, I always check it for responsiveness. I test how the layout behaves on different screens. Website content needs to be adapted for mobile devices, tablets, and desktops. Take a look at this website. I like how it draws attention to the key elements while remaining simple and user-friendly across all devices. On mobile screens, the navigation collapses into a hamburger icon, leaving the hero section visible. This is a good, real-world example of a professional layout. So my conclusion sounds like this. When creating web layouts, always rely on these principles: a focal point, hierarchy, whitespace, and proximity. Practice these layout principles for a simple, clear composition with a strong hierarchy. Open the websites of successful companies you like and ask yourself, 1. What are the focal points? And 2. Does their presence guide the user to the main call to action? Finally, of course, 3. Always check the website's mobile version. Use these design basics in your work to create websites with better UX. Let's make the web better. Happy designing, and see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.